Before the first car crowed in Owerri, a soft engine sound filled Umokoro Street. It was strange, no one drove that early. People opened their windows and looked out. "Who is that woman driving a keke this morning?" a man asked his wife. The air was cold, but Amaka's spirit was strong. Her scarf moved in the wind as she held the steering tight. That morning was the beginning of something great, the story of Amaka, the woman who chose to drive her own destiny on 3 wheels. Everyone in the area knew Amaka was different. She didn't spend time in salons or chasing rich men. She spent her evenings with mechanics, learning how to check oil, fix tires, and drive safely. When she sold her late parents' only land to buy a yellow keke, people talked. They said she was foolish, that a woman shouldn't waste land money on a man's job. But Amaka didn't listen. She looked at the land one last time and said quietly, "Papa, Mama, this land will feed me in another way." People laughed at her. They said no woman should sell land to buy a keke. But Amaka stood there holding the paper of sale and whispered, "Papa, Mama, watch me turn this into my future." The wind blew across her face as if her parents were smiling from above. She felt fear, but also hope. When she finally drove her new yellow keke for the first time, her hands shook. But the moment the tires touched the road, she felt strong inside. People pointed at her, some laughed loudly. "She go disgrace womanhood," a trader shouted. Amaka just smiled and whispered, "I'm not a disgrace, I'm different." Days passed, and Amaka continued waking up early. She prayed, cleaned her keke, and went out to look for passengers. But most people refused to enter. Men laughed and said, "A woman go carry me." Never. She went home every night tired and sad, but she never gave up. Tomorrow will be better, she told herself. Then one rainy day, everything changed. Amaka saw an old woman standing by the road, shivering under the rain. All the other keke drivers had parked their tricycles to wait for the rain to stop, but Amaka stopped and told the woman, "Mama, come inside." She covered her with her wrapper and drove through the water until they reached the hospital. That small act of kindness would one day save her life. Soon, people began to say good things about her. They called her the kind lady driver. She started decorating her keke with a Bible verse on the dashboard, a fake flower on the mirror, and soft gospel music playing. Her keke looked neat and calm. People now said, "Enter Amaka's keke, she drives well." The same men who laughed at her before now stayed quiet when she passed. "She dey try sure," one man said softly. But others became jealous. They started telling lies about her. The worst among them was Chike, the proudest keke rider in the area. Chike was tall and boastful. He believed only men should drive keke. When Amaka started taking his passengers, he became angry. "I'll deal with her," he said one evening while drinking beer. He began spreading lies that Amaka used charms to get customers. Others said she was dating a rich man secretly. Amaka heard all their gossip but didn't reply. She cleaned her keke and prayed every morning. "God, let my work speak for me," she said. Her silence made her stronger. People started to respect her even more. One hot afternoon, her keke stopped working near the busy market. Traders gathered to laugh. "Let's see how she'll fix it now," one man said. Amaka didn't talk. She brought out her small tool bag and opened the engine. Her hands were covered with oil as she worked fast. Soon, the engine came back to life. The crowd clapped loudly. From that day, people started to respect her truly. Mothers told their daughters, "Learn from Amaka." Children shouted, "Auntie Kiki," whenever she passed. Amaka smiled every time. She was proud, not proud in a bad way, but proud that her hard work was finally speaking for her. Her business started growing. She saved small money every week. She helped her younger brother, Obina, to pay for school. Neighbors noticed she was different, no gossip, no parties, no showing off. Only work, prayer, and peace. When she bought her second keke and gave it to a widow to drive, the people were shocked. "Amaka don't turn madam," they said. But she smiled and told the widow, "It's not about being a madam, it's about being useful." But trouble was near. Chike became angry again. One day, there was an accident between two other kekes. Chike paid a policeman to lie that Amaka caused it. By evening, news spread that Amaka, the woman driver, injured somebody. That night, police came and arrested her in front of everyone. She cried quietly inside the police cell, but she didn't beg. "God, you know the truth," she whispered. Deep down, she believed the truth would come out. The next morning, the same old woman Amaka once helped in the rain came to the police station. She came with her son, a journalist. They recorded the story and posted it online. By evening, it was everywhere. Kind woman keke rider falsely accused, the truth comes out. The police released her. Chike's lies were exposed. When Amaka came out of the station, people clapped. She smiled, lifted her head, and drove home that night with peace in her heart. Soon, radio stations started calling her. During her first interview, she said, "A woman can do anything a man can, if she believes." The presenter smiled and said, "You are inspiring many people, Amaka." She replied, "I only followed my dream, that's all." People began to call her Madam Courage. Schools invited her to speak to girls. Newspapers called her the Iron Lady of the Road. But she still stayed humble and kind, the same woman who once sold her land for a dream. Her story touched many women. She started a small group called Women on Wheels. There, she trained widows and single mothers to drive kekes for free. If they laughed at me, she told them, let them clap for all of us together. The women were happy. Soon, she had 3, then 5, then 10 kekes. Each one had her message written on the back. Destiny has no gender. Even with success, Amaka stayed humble. Every morning, she knelt and prayed, God, help me stay thankful. She began helping orphans, paying school fees, and even repaired the roof of her church. People called her a blessing to the community. One day, a politician came to her and said, join my campaign, and I'll pay you well. But Amaka refused. If I sell my story for money, I'll lose its meaning, she said softly. One evening, Amaka went back to the same land she once sold. She had saved enough money to buy it again. The wind blew gently as she smiled and said, I told you I would come back. She built a small but beautiful house there. She packed her old keke beside it as a memory of how her story began. It wasn't just a house, it was a proof that dreams can grow anywhere. At her house opening, many people came to celebrate. Music played, children danced, and the air was full of joy. Even Chike came and said, Amaka, I was wrong. You showed us courage. She smiled and said, sometimes, people's insults help you grow stronger. The crowd clapped. Tears filled her eyes as she whispered, thank you, Papa and Mama. I made it. Soon, TV stations started showing her story. People all over Nigeria talked about her. She never bragged, she only said, I am still the same Amaka from Umuokoro. I just refuse to give up. Movie camera, if you are watching this story now, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because more stories like Amaka's are coming, stories that show that greatness can come from anywhere. Years later, every evening when the sun was setting, Amaka could still be seen driving one of her kekes. She didn't have to, but she loved the road. Children waved at her, and she waved back, smiling. On the back of her keke were the words that told her story. Destiny has no gender. Clapperboard, if Amaka's story touched your heart, please subscribe, like, and share. More African stories of courage and hope are coming soon.